right, hello everybody. What would you do if you could not fail? It's an important question to ask, but I see too many times it's all the rah, rah, rah. What would you do if you could not fail? And at the same, you're trying to get yourself all pumped up about that, right? But at the same time, you're feeling all the doubt and the fear because you've never done something before, so you may be nervous about it. I'm not talking about that kind of what would you do if you could not fail. I mean, if God and angels were standing with you, providing you with all that you need, all of the resources, all the time, all of the spark ideas, all of the support, what would you do if you couldn't fail? That is the subject of our walk and talk today. So welcome, I'm Ann Ferguson, and I am an author. I am a mentor, which is one of my very favorite things to do, is to walk with people in these mindset shifts that help them actually feel really grounded and expansive at the same time. So I am very religious, and I believe in God. I believe that He is. I believe that He created all things in the heaven and the earth, and I believe that He understands what I do not. I also believe that He likes me. Not just that He loves me. I am His daughter, and when I used to say that, it used to be, well, yeah, I'm His daughter, you're His daughter, you know, we're all sons and daughters, and it was never personalized. But when I say, He doesn't just love me, my God likes me, it changes it. So, we talk about God a lot on this little walk and talk that I do. And today, we're talking about failure. And literally, if God were right by your side, if He had the ability to, well, He does, but if He sent angels and support and nudges and guided you, what would you do if you couldn't fail? I know that I have had times where failure has absolutely paralyzed me from even trying. Like, I don't even want to try. I know I'm going to fail at that. And the reason is because either the disappointment I will have in myself or the disappointment of letting somebody else down is too big. And so I don't even try. There are other times where I have committed, I've promised, I'm going to make myself be responsible and focused, and I can do this. And I will work myself to the bone and exhaustion in order not to fail. In both settings, I am attacking whatever it is I'm doing without God. So, step one on how to kick failure in the butt is to allow, not ask, allow help, allow support, receive. That's the hand position for receiving, right there. I receive. Not closed fist, open fist. Okay, so the next thing about failure that you need to know, I need to know, is there are two types of failures. And there really is just two. When I fail at something, it could be me disappointing myself. It's a thing I promised myself I was going to do, or it's really I failed to follow through on something. When it's a fail to follow through, guarantee you it's almost always because there's something that is biting you in the butt that you don't know you're running from. But it's easy to decide what that is. It's easy to find it if you know. First of all, we're going to go into a principle that I talk about all the time. And that is that you are not your own worst enemy. You're not your enemy. And your spirit actually wants to succeed. It wants to grow. It wants light. It wants to progress. So the being of you is not in your own way. Let me tell you what is. There is only one God, and the law of opposition exists. Now that God is actually really intimately invested in your happiness and you feeling successful, you accomplishing the things that you desire to do, right? Those things, he's totally all in. In fact, he actually sent his son so that when things get a little messy, as you're trying, son's going to clean it up and help. Hosts of heaven are deployed and ready and waiting to help you. And he's intimately invested in not just you glorifying him, which is important, but you also gaining everything that you came here to do. And that's not all for him. So some of you may not like what I said about that. It's okay. I believe that God wants us to be glorified as well as him. And sometimes we forget that. Okay, law of opposition means that if that is the case, then there is one enemy. And he is intimately invested in your destruction. He's intimately invested, honestly, in your misery. And one of his whole tactics is to block the voice of the Spirit. Why? Because the voice of the Spirit that's talking to you is giving you ideas on how to get through this and how to do that, and keeping your emotions calm and all of the things. And the enemy, for most people, are not leading them into sin necessarily, like really bad, horrible behavior, but sin as in misperception. Because that is the root of all sin, is not having correct perception. Can you imagine if you actually believed with every ounce of your being that you couldn't fail? If you believed that you couldn't fail without any doubt or fear, what would you do? So, in a behavior-based failure, there's two types, behavior-based and results-based. In a behavior-based failure, there is always an enemy who is on the prowl. So let's do this. What did you promise yourself you were going to do yesterday that you did not do? Do you ever do that? Do you ever promise yourself, today I'm going to do this? So I did. I was going to read the Jackrabbit Factor all the way through. I've only got 3 or 4 chapters left. I'm rereading it. And I finally settled in. And then, even though I felt sick, I had forgotten to cancel a client. And then I got distracted about something else. And then I got distracted about something else. So what are those distractions? The distractions are me hiding from something. Me running away from something. I haven't totally figured that out. Like, what is it about this project? Because I've been trying this project for about a month and a half, maybe 2 months now. What is it about this project that I'm afraid of? Because really, if I get it done, there's really cool things that are going to be happening. So what is it that's stopping me? What is my belief? I believe that my website isn't ready for people to find me. It can register people. We're still working on it. Getting it to the point that you know what igniting your belief actually is. And so what my brain does is it jumps on, oh, I've got to do that next. What does igniting your belief actually do for you? I'm getting closer to that. And then I bounce and I bounce and I bounce. Well, let's back it up. Who actually doesn't want me to accomplish anything? I got a bully. And I feel, let's go with the feelings, I feel inadequate. That's the feeling. Now, on my own, that is true. I am inadequate. But with God, I am not. I've operated in the last 4 years, taught, I don't know, I've taught at least 1,000. My mentors have taught more on the website. It's adequate, right? So that people can register and get the benefit of that class. So today I'm going to finish it. What I have to do is connect with God. He wants my success. This literally is a miracle, what's happened in this project. And it's a gift. It's a generous gift to me. And it's interesting when you really look at it, what impact it's going to have. I can see why the enemy doesn't want it to happen. So now I get to get real sassy and I go, I'm going to do that today. I'm going to squash your head. All right, so anytime that you've got a behavior-based thing, it is always that. Okay, let's go into a results-based failure. So this is the try-fail thing. This is like doing a tablespoon of salt instead of a teaspoon, right? You try to make cookies, you put something in wrong, it totally fails, it flops, right? If you have a results-based failure, you're trying things and you're not any good at it, this is where that idea of, Edison tried 1,000 times before he got the light bulb kind of thing. It wasn't a behavior-based failure that produces shame. It was a results-based failure. Usually results-based produces embarrassment, especially if you told somebody that you're going to do something and then it doesn't turn out, or it turns out halfway, half good. So the only thing that you need to do on a results-based failure is say, what did I just learn? Whereas in a behavior-based failure, the only thing you say is, what derailed me? What derailed me? Go back, find your belief. What did I just learn? Oh, I just learned that the capital T, LBS thing, that means tablespoon, not teaspoon. When I did this with a group of teenagers, one talked about a results-based failure, which was her belly flop when she was doing diving. And I said, tell me more about that. And she says, I didn't. I said, what did you learn? And she says, I pulled out of my tuck too early. And I said, and? She goes, the next time I succeeded. Okay, so that's really, really cool. The trying and trying and trying and just learning and learning and learning is what keeps us out of the sense of failure. The other thing is anticipation. If you are expecting a certain result, if you're expecting how it's supposed to look so that you can judge yourself about whether or not it was a success, that's a problem. Because I would love for you today to just look around at all of the things that you expect to happen or expect of yourself, and you've got a full-blown picture about what that looks like. How often does that picture actually come true in the way that you want it to be? Most people who are disappointed, frustrated, and angry are sitting in expectations, especially expectations of others, like how you're supposed to show up so that I don't fail is a big one. How do you show up so that I'm not a failure? And that leads to so much pain, so much yuck. How do you show up so that I'm not a failure? Expectations. So another way to beat the failure thing is to always sit in anticipation. So with my failure of not getting this project done with the Jackrabbit Factor book, I did get distracted and was highly successful in getting the podcast set all done. And I got it. Today I'm going to make my first video. It's actually a video about all the things that people get as they study to be a mentor with me. So it's not the podcast yet, but it's our first one that I'm going to do and get all the equipment going and see if we can make it work. And I'm actually really excited about that. Will I probably do 3 to 4 takes? It's possible, depending on if I ramble or not. I've got a little teleprompter that's going to help me stay on track, but it's not going to be a failure because I'm anticipating that video being really, really informational and exactly what people need. So, if I don't follow through on making that video, then I'm dealing with a behavior-based failure. And the behavior-based failure means I am believing something. I am believing it's not good enough. I'm believing it's not going to happen. I'm believing, usually for me it's a perfectionism type stuff. I'm a recovering perfectionist. I'm an imperfect perfectionist for the most part. And that's because I was a dancer, and you sit in front of mirrors all the time, and every little nuance, like your hand position, your wrist, your elbow, everything can be tweaked so it can become better. And so I have to just let things be as they are. That's part of the reason why this walk and talk has been so good, because it's just me, just walking and talking. There's no edits. This is just me. You are seeing exactly who I am all the time, even in my hot mess. I could say that earlier when I did my walk and talk, it was a failure. Because today I started at 9:30. I was walking through the neighborhood. There were so many cars coming through. I was so distracted. I could not keep my brain in one solid line at all. And I could have said, well, I failed that today. That sucked. But another thing about failure is you can always choose to do something different. If it's a behavior-based failure, which this one was, I did not get out of bed on time. I did not get out of bed on time. And so I was rushed. So I didn't get down to the park on time. And I had to walk through a neighborhood where there was a lot of cars and a lot of distractions. And that's behavior-based. So what derailed me? Well, one of the things that derailed me is whether or not I was feeling good enough. And I was. I had a good sleep. But after 2 days of not doing my walk and talk, it can become very easy to go, you know what, this stuff doesn't even matter. It's not like anybody's really watching. You know, it doesn't really matter. I don't need to do this. I caught him today. I caught that bully this morning. And I said, you know what, I'm probably going to be late. It's possible. But I'm going to just do it anyway. Get up, get walking, talk my stuff out, hopefully help people. That was absolutely this morning, this first walk and talk that I did, so not great. This one's much better. I'm calmer, I'm more focused, I don't have all the traffic, so much better. Okay, results-based failure, last little bit. If you try something and it doesn't work, the enemy will say, don't try again. You suck at this. People are going to know. Hide. Don't be real. Whatever it is. I'm going to say, heavenly help is going to say, try again. Let me show you how. Try again. Let me show you how. Try again. Let me show you how. I did. I caught the bully. Moving forward to a better result. We can always choose. We can choose to try again. And if you've tried and tried and tried and tried, stop. I'm just telling you, stop. The reason is because there is an arc to things. You'll try and try and try and you'll hit a really good spot and then it'll start to deteriorate. That's when you're squeezing a sponge too tight. You can't get any water out. That is when you just let go and you go, you know what? I'm going to try this again. I'm choosing, see, I'm not being beat up by the bully. I am choosing to let this go for now. So let's kick failure in the butt. I actually don't feel the emotion of failure very often because I've gotten really good at evaluating, finding the bully, and I've gotten really good at deciding, do I want to try this again or do I not want to try this again? I have also gotten really good at anticipating the result that I want. Okay, so expectations is always going to cause, almost always is going to cause failure. So get out of expectations and start anticipating it being better than you ever thought. That includes relationships. It's possible. It is totally possible to have a really, really beautiful relationship, and they don't have to show up in the way that the media tells you they do. That's it, guys. Have a really, really blessed day. And what would you do? Answer the question. If you could not fail today on something today. See, sometimes when we ask that question, I almost said I was done. Sometimes we ask that question, it's a great, big, huge thing. What would I do if I couldn't fail? I would do this great, big, huge thing. But there's all these little steps in the way that can distract you. So let's just go with today. Let's eat the elephant and say, I have this big dream. What can I do today? I have a dream of a wildly successful podcast, not for my sake, but so that the things that God is helping me share can get into a wider audience than just this little Facebook group. And today, I'm going to play with that equipment and I'm going to make my first video. I am going to be successful at taking a bite of the elephant today. I'm going to anticipate it going better than I thought it was going to go. And I'm going to be excited about it. And I think I'm going to do that first and then finish up the Jackrabbit Factor project while I've got that feeling of, I did it. The feeling of accomplishment. I'm going to ride that wave. So do something really small that you know you're going to accomplish well. Use the energy of accomplishment to take a bite of the bigger elephant. That's it, everybody. Have a super great day, and I will see you later.